Did you make notes?
Only a little bit.
Ooh, I'm interested to see what you have in your notes.
It's just nothing.
It's just nothing. Well, hello there. Welcome to On The Bitte, the podcast that uncovers full frontal male nudity in cinema. My name is Laura, and for the first time ever, I am not joined by my co-host Ryan, but I am joined by my interim co-host Renee.
Hello, happy to be here.
I'm so excited that you're here, and we've planned this out for a little bit. It was actually Ryan's idea, because we thought, what would it be like for a couple of ladies to get in the seats and do a little kind of I don't want to sound like a dork, but a Galentine's Day special.
Yeah, host before bros. Uteruses before deuteruses. Ovaries before broveries.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm into that. I like this.
Ladies.
And we go, what kind of film would we talk about? You know, it's February. Valentine's Day is coming up, obviously. So we go, let's do a rom-com.
Yeah, rom-com. That's like one of my favorite genres.
Yeah, I figured the only way, we talked about this, the only way I could get you on alone, get you alone in this room with me, is to do a rom-com.
I love rom-coms and I love zombie movies, and that's basically it.
You missed out on the zombie penis movie that we did.
Wait, are there any actual zombie penises, though? I know, like, there's a penis in a zombie movie, but do you ever see zombie penises?
Well, it's been a long day. I'm not seeing them in my visual memory right now, because usually when you tell me about a penis, it pops into my brain, and I can see it on the back of my eyelids. But this time I don't have anything.
When that moment comes, that'll be my next time.
I'll just in the middle of this episode, I'll just start screaming and I'll go, oh, I remember. But we're not going to talk about zombie penises.
No. Rom-coms.
We're rom-coms, and we're going to talk about the 2008 comedy Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which is, I don't know, a classic full frontal male nudity film, a classic romantic comedy, and I feel like so many people have seen this movie. It's very popular.
Yeah, it has an all-star comedic cast. It's a very likable movie.
Everyone in this movie is recognizable. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like, even the side characters.
Yeah, you keep having moments where you're like, oh, that person's in it.
Yeah, and especially back in 2008, a lot of those people went on to do even more and more, like, famous and more popular things. So, that's nice. It's, the Judd Apatow gang.
Yeah.
I'll give you the synopsis first.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I pulled this from Letterboxd, as I usually do, and I don't like it. I think it's a bad synopsis. But let me put on my voice. When Sarah Marshall dumps aspiring musician Peter Bretter for rock star Aldous Snow, Peter's world comes crashing down. His best friend suggests that Peter should get away from everything and fly off to Hawaii to escape all his problems. After arriving in Hawaii and meeting the beautiful Rachel Jansen, Peter is shocked to see not only Aldous Snow in Hawaii, but also Sarah Marshall.
That's it?
That's the...
Well, did it say his friend? Isn't that his brother?
It is his stepbrother. No, it's his, No, it is his stepbrother.
Yeah, or half-brother. It's a brother of some sort.
It's a brother of some sort.
Yeah.
I believe that they said it was either his half-brother or his stepbrother because they don't look enough alike to pull off actual brother.
Yeah.
So, yeah, his brother is, Jason Segel plays the main character, Peter Bretter. Kristen Bell is also in this movie, Sarah Marshall, Mila Kunis, Russell Brand, Bill Hader plays the brother, and Jonah Hill. There's so many of them.
You get a little bit of Paul Rudd.
You get a little Paul Rudd, Jack McBrayer. So many.
Yeah,
it's so good. So this was directed by Nicholas Stoller, and he and Jason Segel have a long relationship. They met back when they were... Well, Nicholas Stoller helped write Undeclared. Did you ever see that show?
No.
It was another Judd Apatow show that came out after Freaks and Geeks. Did you see Freaks and Geeks?
Yes, I remember it a little bit. But I'll watch that. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I think there's 18 episodes. I came to it later after after it had already been canceled because it only had one season.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone that you watch now is in that show. Like Seth Rogen is in it. Jason Segel, James Franco.
I need to go back and watch it.
Linda
again.
Cardellini, Martin Starr. So many people.
They formed friendships forever, probably.
They did. Well, because they all came together because of Judd Apatow, and they were all so young, and then I think they just kind of kept working together, and they found, themselves, and through working with Judd Apatow, they were able to kind of like launch their careers, which is nice. That's nice for them. But I found this out today, but Nicholas Stoller is an English-born director, but he grew up in Miami. As a Florida boy. This movie's his directorial debut, which is nice as well. He's directed a bunch of stuff. He did Yes Man. He directed Get Him to the Greek, which was like the follow-up to this movie. The Muppet movie that Jason Segel wrote. They also collaborated again and did 5-Year Engagement. And then Nicholas Stoller also directed the 2... You remember that Neighbors movies with Zac Efron?
Yes, did not watch it, but I remember.
You didn't see those?
It existed.
I recommend. They're very funny. They're both very funny. And he also recently wrote and directed Bros.
Oh, I did just watch that. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I recently heard someone call it like a gay movie for straight people, though.
It follows those classic rom-com tropes step by step. And I have a feeling that maybe gay relationships aren't exactly like that.
They address that multiple times in the film, but then they still do the same classic setup.
That's true. That's true. But forgetting Sarah Marshall, here we are. I think this is an interesting movie. We have to do this differently because I know everyone's seen this movie. We're not going to go step by step and go through the whole film like we normally do. I want to bring up a bunch of stuff because I really like this movie, but I think it's interesting because this is the first film that Jason Segel... It's not the first film that he wrote, but it's the first film that got picked up and that was, produced and made. It's an interesting kind of story into like Jason Segel himself because a lot of stuff that happened in the film happened to him in real life. But it's like a comedy, but like there's this underlying drama throughout the whole thing. It's about a man who is trying to figure himself out, trying to figure out his own identity, after this huge breakup that he wasn't expecting, who hates his job, who hates his life, and he's really trying to, like, rediscover who he is and his passions.
Yeah.
He cries a lot in this film.
He does cry. A crying woman sound cry.
Yes. That's another thing that happened to him in real life. But it's further in my notes, so I'll bring it up later.
One, sad man thing that they put in the beginning that I love is just a reoccurring element later in the film is that weird giant bowl of cereal. It's like a mixing bowl of cereal. And I've never eaten a bowl of cereal that big. Have you?
No.
Yeah, and then he just, even once he has his life together, like later when they're showing him get his shit together and figuring himself out, he busts out the cereal bowl, like the big cereal bowl, I'm pretty sure. And it's just still part of who he is, and I think that's adorable.
He just really likes the big bowl of cereal. And then he brings up the container, right?
Keeps the cereal fresh.
Super fresh. But every time he makes a bowl of cereal, he almost uses the whole box.
How could he ever have stale cereal with the amounts he eats? Like,
so much.
One box is a serving to him, and I just love that, and I wish I could live that kind of lifestyle.
That's kind of how I am with, potato chips. Right in the beginning of the film, and we're talking 4 minutes into the film, we have our first penis scene of 2.
Yeah.
It's at 4 minutes and 25 seconds into this film. There's an extended and a theatrical version of this movie. I always watch the extended. It doesn't matter if the theatrical's good.
Yeah, I just most recently watched the extended. I don't know. That's what we watched.
I just want the extra treats, I want to see what else that they could have done. And there's some extra good stuff in this movie. There's a whole scene with, Kristen Wiig and this yoga portion, which isn't in the theatrical, that I really like. So, this penis scene in the beginning of the film, there's 3 shots. There's 3 penis shots. So we're talking 4 minutes 25, 5 minutes, and like 5 minutes and 47 seconds. So like within basically a minute, there's 3 different.
So I only remember 2 in the beginning, and I don't know which one I lost. Like, he drops the towel.
Yep.
There it is. They cut back to him at some point. There it is. And I guess, I don't know.
There's one where he stands up again.
Oh, yeah, I think that's the other one I caught. So there's just like a secret penis in there. I must have looked away for a couple seconds. I don't know.
They were speaking about it in the commentary, how originally that last shot had 13 frames. So there's 13 frames of a penis. And then they were like, maybe we should cut it down. We'll cut it down to 10 frames.
Okay.
But then it just kept getting missed. So they had to add back in those like 3 tiny little frames so you could see that penis just enough.
Yeah, I feel like you could see it. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely can see it.
This scene actually was inspired by real events. Obviously, Jason Segel wrote this film. So this whole breakup story is kind of, well, the whole Sarah Marshall thing is kind of like an amalgamation of like his past relationships. But apparently this particular scene kind of came from a time when there was a girl that Jason Segel was dating. She calls him from the airport and is like, I want to see you. So he thinks, okay, awesome, she's coming over for sex, right?
Yeah.
So he's like getting ready, he's showering, and so he's waiting for her naked. And she comes in and he does that, like in the movie, he does that kind of like wiener slapping against his legs thing, which he called the old east-west.
Is that what you said?
That's what he calls it. And then immediately she goes, we have to talk. And while the actual breakup in real life is happening, she asked him to put on clothes. And he has to, like, spend the second half of the breakup, like, picking out, like, his breakup clothes. And he's like, that is the hardest outfit anyone will ever pick out in their entire life, is the outfit you're going to get broken up with in.
I would have just put on like a robe or some boxers or...
I know, right? He said he ended up coming out with like a blue button-up shirt and like khaki pants.
Professional.
Yeah, professional breakup artist.
That's that scene kind of where she's telling him to put your clothes on so we can break up. And he's like, no, because I know it'll be over once I put my clothes on. I was just like, oh my God, I would just leave. If you're like that over someone you're breaking up with them and they just are in front of you naked, I don't know, it's kind of creepy, gross. Like, I would be like, okay, so bye then. You're not gonna put on clothes, I'm leaving.
Yeah, you don't need to stay in that situation. I don't know how long. I don't remember how long they were dating in the film.
5 years.
5 years, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and spoiler, for 1 whole year she was having an affair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. 5
years together. I mean, yeah.
I mean, you gotta give someone a little bit of time. 5 years? You gotta give them the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, I would just come back and talk to them about it later when they're dressed. Yeah, I'd be like, we're breaking up. Put your clothes on. And if they don't, I'd be like, okay, I'm leaving. I don't want to look at the dick of my past.
I just want to see the dick of my future.
Which she already had, I guess.
That's true. For like interim penis. I think I'd be okay with it.
But then he also like tries to pull her near and stuff. And I'm like, ugh, that's like, I don't know, that's too much.
Also like freshly showered, so you're a little bit moist.
Yeah.
And you have to hold their like sticky body. Yeah. Yeah, that's not true. Or that's not a lot of fun. Well, it's not meant to be sexy, at least, and they've succeeded in that.
Yeah, it's definitely not meant to be sexy. It's it's there because it is.
Also, he had said that when this was happening in real life, he wanted it to, like, hurry up and finish because he thought it was so funny that he wanted to write it down. Like, in the moment.
Well, that's good that his comedic brain was comforting him already.
That's true. He's like, I'm a writer. I've got to write this down. Yeah. Please leave. Because it's like, I already know you're breaking up with me. I might as well just make something good out of it. So, eventually, he just kind of, like, tuned her out. And I was like, okay.
I wonder how that woman felt once she watched this. She's just like, wow, this, I don't know, like, that was me. I was
Yeah.
I inspired this. Well, I guess he really inspired it. He was the one that was just like naked. But
Yeah, that's true. I don't think he speaks to this person anymore. He doesn't say who it was, because so I mentioned Linda Cardellini, who he dated in the show Freaks and Geeks, but they dated in real life.
Okay.
And so people always assume that it's her, and he did not. He lightly denies it.
Okay.
So you never know.
Never know. You never know who it is.
She's in Grandma's Boy. Have you seen that one?
I have, but a long time ago. I don't really remember a lot about it.
I watched it recently, and she's in it, and she's great. And I showed it to Ryan, who didn't find it amusing at all. That's a shame. I saw that in the theater all by myself. It was awesome. I had a great time. This scene's pretty infamous, you know, like you're breaking up, you're naked, you see this penis a few times. Apparently there was one of the first screenings of the film, he took his family to go see it, right? And he didn't tell his mother that he was going to be naked, and he just thought it would be funny, like a funny joke, like, and kind of look over when it happens and see what she would say. So when the scene comes on, he looks over and he can see his father cracking up, absolutely dying of laughter. His sister also cracking up. And then he sees his mom and sees kind of a single tear roll down her cheek. And he's like, why are you crying? And she's like, why didn't you tell me? He goes, like, I thought it'd be funny. And she goes, this is not a funny joke. And then she ended up having to email her entire family and just said, I just want to make you aware about Jason's full frontal nudity, but I do want to emphasize that it is completely in context.
So she defended it.
She defended it. She defended it, but she didn't like it.
Yeah.
She wasn't a big fan.
I mean, if I were in her position, I'd like a heads up about it too. But then she also raised this human being, must know his sense of humor, and be like, well... This is, I've created this person, and he thinks this is funny.
That's my boy.
That's my boy.
That's my boy up there. So, and it was also apparently Judd Apatow's kind of like MO to have leading man full frontal. He really wanted leading man full frontal nudity. And apparently Jason Segel said that Judd Apatow made him like show him his penis before they filmed it just to make sure it looked normal.
What if it didn't?
I don't know.
Then would he have not used him or used a prosthetic or
maybe they would have done different shots so you'd have a body double in there, because they did a full wide shot.
Yeah.
Of that whole thing. So you know who it belongs to. But yeah, I wonder, they would have had to have switched it up a bit, but that would make me sad. Let the penises be penises.
Yeah, they're all unique.
They're all unique.
Yeah.
They're all little snowflakes.
Yeah.
And they all should be proud.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Man, I think that's... Well, everyone knows how I feel about prosthetics, so... The director said that Jason Segel was mainly nervous that his wiener looked normal, which in a very cold room is kind of hard to achieve. So... He said that he'd set up like a little private room where he, quote, got his wiener looking normal. And then, like kind of the crew and the cast would wait, and then he'd yell like, okay, I'm ready. And then they'd say action, he'd like come out.
Okay, so looking normal, does he mean like semi blood flowing to it?
Yes.
Like, okay. Okay, so
yeah, I remember reading articles when the film came out, ages ago, and he said like I had to get kind of a half chub going.
Yeah.
Like a little chub, just so it's like kind of,
not just all saggy.
Yeah. It's got some life.
Yeah.
It's got some life flowing into
some
it.
Shape to it. You really see it.
I don't typically talk. I don't want to like comment on how this man's penis looks, but I just think that it's funny that there's so much information on this particular scene, and they talk about it. He talks about it to this day because people always ask him. So I just think it's interesting. So the director also said that he had no idea what the audience would put up with in terms of like the amount of male nudity. So they had different scenes, like one where he kept the towel on, one from just the waist up, and then they had one where it's just like the top half of like the trunk of his penis.
Oh.
And they did test screenings where there was like more and people didn't want it, and then so they decided that like 4 shots in one scene is too many. 2 is too little.
Okay.
3 is just perfect.
3 is just right.
3 is the perfect amount of shots for a penis in a film.
Triple dick.
A triptych in that scene. There's things I don't even know if I want to talk about. I wrote down just quotes. Like the part where they go to the bar after the breakup, like Jason Segel and Bill Hader.
Yeah.
And they're meeting all the ladies. And Jason Segel goes, I want to be my L into someone's T's. And I remember after I saw that, maybe it was just this naive young lady when I saw it the first time, I was like, be my L. Because I was trying to figure out what that meant. I know what it means now.
Wait, I actually don't think I know what it means.
Be my L into someone's T's. I'm kind of curious to see what you think it might be.
Be my L. I mean, the T's, I think it's titties.
Yes.
Blow my load.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
What a champion.
I was like, beat my what? You know?
Blow my load into someone's titties.
Yeah.
Yes. How romantic.
That's such romance.
I love that scene too because like I actually feel like I've been that woman that he goes home with that night where a guy is just being like so inappropriately direct, and I think it's hilarious. Like I seriously do, and somehow eventually, I don't know, at some point it turns where I'm like, yeah, I will.
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's offering it, and you know that it's available.
Yeah.
So it's totally down. See, every time I ever did that to a guy when I was out, it never worked.
I don't know if I've ever been the one doing that, but definitely have had someone be that direct with me. And I'm like, oh, you're funny. Yeah, that's never going to happen. Hilarious. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, whoops, what did I do?
You wake up, there's a mattress on the floor. Like, oh no.
And we also need to talk about how he goes to the pediatrician's office the next day. And for no reason. Like, I love like the sweetness of someone who's been in a long-term relationship and is like, I had sex with another person. I guess I have an STD.
So did you wear a condom? Yes. Please get out of my office.
He just makes him look at his penis. He's like, that looks like a real good dick. So there's not just dick scenes, but there's just also dick dialogue, which is, you know,
there's lots of dick dialogue. There's lots of phallic imagery with different fruit drinks and bananas and chess pieces.
Yes.
So it's always ever present. All of that. One of my favorite lines, or one of my favorite parts, is where after the breakup he goes into work, right, for scene of the crime.
Yes.
And he's trying to do the music for this particular scene, and then just ends up like smashing the screen with I don't know what that was. Something.
Some kind of stand, yeah.
Yeah, like a music stand or something. Well, you're fucking Billy Baldwin, aren't you? And the guy in the sound booth's like, I've got Allman Brothers tickets, man. I gotta get out of here.
I watched this with Ty last night, and he goes, oh my God, do you know how expensive those screens are? And I'm like, no one, why would anyone know that? I didn't ask him how much, but that was his reaction to that scene. He was very upset about that screen being teared.
Now I want to know. I'm sure they are expensive.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. It looked like a very fancy place.
Well, another one I wrote down. I'm just going to tell you all the things I wrote down. So when he's really having his full breakdown, before he goes to Hawaii, he's at home and he's like made an album or a playlist of all the sad love songs.
Oh, yeah.
And Nothing Compares to You is playing. And I think we actually sent you, when this happened, like a long voicemail about it. So there was one night that Ryan and I were coming home, and our neighbor was outside of his house, in his car, in his carport. He had the windows down in his car. All the lights are off. The car is not, I don't even think the car is on. But he is blaring Nothing Compares to You in his car in the dark.
I do remember you guys sending this message because you're like whispering while you're telling the story to us. I'm like, why are they whispering?
It was just the most authentic and sad,
so sad
moment for this man who we've barely spoken to. But he was, if you're blaring Nothing Compares to You in your car in the dark, you really had a bad day.
Yeah.
Some sadness.
Yeah.
So, I know, that's a go-to sad song. Oh, Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Is it You Give Love a Bad Name?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Heart,
yeah.
And you're to blame. I used to sing that one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
My current, I like breakup songs, but I can't think of any right now. But like, I like the more empowering, like I'm finally over you kind of songs. That one, the one I like right now is it's an older-ish song, but not old. It's older, like it's a pop song.
Okay.
Is that the one? I'm not gonna sing it, but it's like if you don't want to see me, don't go out. Don't go places because I'll be out there having a good time. Essentially, is how the song goes. Ty told me the other day who sings that, but I can't do a link something. You know who sings that song? No.
The only reason I'm going to say this is because I'm familiar with this person's name,
Yeah,
but not the music. Is it Dua Lipa?
Dua Lipa, yeah.
I don't know their music.
Well, I think that's one of their songs.
Well, you'll have to sing it for me later.
Yeah, I will. I
don't want to hear the real song.
Not on this, and I'll get half the words wrong, but that's my new one that I like to sing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a 3-year-old song, but I'm all of a sudden into it.
But I only listen to things like Allman Brothers, so I'm way behind. So you showed me a Lizzo song the other day, right?
Yeah.
That reminded us of our friendship.
Yeah. And
I'd never heard that song before, so
yeah,
I need you to keep me updated on.
Yeah, I Love You, Bitch.
Yeah,
it's a very Galentine-y song.
Yeah, for all the gals out there, I love you, bitch. That's a lovely song. I don't know if you're going to be as excited about this as me, but when he gets on the flight to Hawaii, and he orders an anticipatory drink, which is one of my favorite things, and I've absolutely done that at a bar, and I've always just wanted to say it, like, oh, this is an anticipatory order, because I know I'm going to want another drink.
Yeah.
And I just like to say the word anticipatory.
Yeah.
Because it sounds nice. But she's not a server, she's the flight attendant who comes up is Catherine Keener's sister, Elizabeth Keener.
Okay.
I love Catherine Keener. I'm trying to think of, like, where can I put Catherine Keener to where you go, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just watched last night, and I remember the person saying, like, you already have a drink, and I don't remember at all that woman's face. So.
I remember seeing her, and I go, that looks like my main lady, Catherine Keener, but it's not. It's her sister.
It's her sister. Okay.
Which makes total sense. Catherine Keener is in that new-ish Showtime show with Jim Carrey called Kidding. She is in Being John Malkovich.
Oh, I have seen that.
She is in Friends with Benefits. Oh, she's in some. I'm not even looking this up. This is from my brain. Catherine Keener.
Oh yeah, I love this woman. Yes,
Catherine Keener is on my hot lady list.
Yeah, she is super hot. She's like a very hot mom.
Maybe I like hot moms.
Yeah,
because Naomi Watts is also on my hot lady list.
Yes. Naomi Watts is very hot.
She's got some kids. Keira Knightley is also on that list, but I don't know if she...
I have no idea if she has children.
I don't think
she probably does by now.
I think she's younger than us.
Oh, is she?
Huh. She might have been born in maybe like 80s.
Yeah, like a couple years younger than us. All right. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I know who your hot ladies are.
Yeah. I mean...
Do you want to tell the world who your hot ladies are? One of them is nominated for an Oscar this year.
Wow, my brain's doing a thing where I can't think of...
Her name is Kate Blanchett.
Yes, Kate Blanchett. But what was the other one? I'm having a
Honestly,
brain
don't
freeze.
remember. That's the main one I remember.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett is my current... Does she have children?
Oh, wow.
She doesn't give off mom vibes. That's all I'll say. But she's my current hot lady, I think. Yeah.
She's the definition of elegance.
Yes. She's my favorite. One of my favorite Instagram accounts follows her. I love it. Yeah. Scarlett Johansson. She's the other one. I also don't know if she has children, but she does not give off mom vibes.
She's married to a Saturday Night Live dude.
She sure is. He's a handsome man. You don't think so?
No.
He's like got a classic charm about him.
He's a classic white man face.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
It's like the one that if you saw him in a crowd of people, you would think he's just
Oh, yeah. If you saw him in like one of those man tank tops at a bar with all his friends, you'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But when he's wearing his like weekend update out like suit, and
right. Okay.
you know, he's surrounded by all his funny SNL pals, he's kind of cute. But I guess what made him really cute to me is knowing that he was married to her.
Well, she elevates
him.
Because, I mean, if you see that guy walking down the street with Scarlett Johansson, I mean...
You're like, oh, is that your brother, your assistant? Is that your accountant?
So I know you want to talk about the hotel.
Oh, yeah. So they go to Hawaii.
They go to Hawaii, where you have been... And I have not.
Yes.
I have no references here to what Hawaii actually looks like. And I know there's a lot of shots in this film that look like they're green screen shots, but that's just legit Hawaii.
So I was wondering, I'm like, are they sometimes not in Hawaii for this? Because it does look like they're green screen shots, but
I think
they are.
I believe that every single one of those is actually Hawaii, even the ones that look fake. The ones where they did shoot elsewhere, where they had to maybe do pickups or reshoots, are in LA. But those are all interiors.
Oh, they're all interior shots. So I haven't been to this place in Hawaii, Oahu. I've never been there, but I love Hawaii, and I love like nice hotels and stuff. So I was like, well, this hotel looks really nice.
Looks like a luxury.
Let me look and see how much it is, because they're like, these are celebrities staying here, you know, like 2 celebrities chose to go to this place, so it must be very nice. Well, you know, in the movie, they chose to. So I looked up the room that they're staying in, and they're like the beach bungalows, and they're $1,200 a night. Yes, I can't afford that.
No.
But I thought that they were going to be like, I don't know, $3,000 a night, something like that. They are pretty basic bungalows, but they're right on the water.
On the ground floor.
The ones on the ground floor where they're both staying at in the end, but her and the singer are staying at in the beginning. And then I think I found his original room, which is the nicest room that they have. Yeah. It doesn't actually have a piano in it, but otherwise looks kind of similar. And it's about, I think it was $3,200 a night. So she quotes him $6,000 or something in the movie. And he's like, absolutely not. But in reality, it's like a $3,000 room. You know, I think I'm looking regular season. It's normally a $3,000 room. So can you imagine the world where you just show up to a hotel and this hot woman is like, you know what? You could stay here for 4 nights free. Like,
in our most expensive suite.
No problem, man.
Here you go.
I just feel bad for you.
And it's not even, it goes really fast. Like, oh, she's already here with another dude. She met him for maybe 15 seconds before Sarah Marshall shows up.
If I was that woman, again, maybe this is the hose before bros thing, but I'd be like, this man is a stalker. He didn't accidentally come to the same place she's at. He did this on purpose. He knows somehow. I would just immediately have been like suspicious of him. I wouldn't have been like, I feel bad for you. I'd be like, did you know she was coming here? Like she was, you know?
Yeah, and also she's, you know, the Mila Kunis is standing there as this interaction between Sarah Marshall and Peter happen. And he makes the joke. He's like, I came here to murder you.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. But she's also standing there, like, witnessing this interaction between these two people. It doesn't fill me with confidence.
No, it wouldn't fill me with confidence either, but maybe they were meant to be, and she has a similar sense of humor to him, so she's already picking up his good vibrations or something, but I would have been like, security?
Yeah.
We have a big celebrity here, and I think her stalker's here, and you need to get him off the property. But no, instead, I'm just going to give him the nicest room for free. Yay!
Yeah, honestly. There's some holes here.
Yeah, but that's okay.
I accept them.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is, like, I'm so jealous of him because he gets to be friends with all these cool Hawaiian people, like, almost immediately. He only stays there for, like, 4 days, and he's BFFs with all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, have you ever gone to a place, like, hotel or, I don't know, hostel, campsite, anything, and just immediately became friends with all the staff and locals within days?
Yes.
Oh, God, you're so much cooler than me.
I'm just kidding. I did stay at an Airbnb that it was a shared Airbnb.
Oh, okay.
And I made friends with the people that lived there, and they took us out around the town.
Oh, well, that's nice. See, you are cool. I remember, like, what I'm thinking of is, like, obviously me, this has never happened to. I'm just not that cool. But, like, every time I go somewhere with my younger brother, Kevin, it doesn't matter. Like, he immediately is friends with everyone there, and somehow, like, all of a sudden smoking weed and playing guitar with them in the middle of the night. Like, it doesn't matter where we go. We've gone to, like, different, like, campsites where there's, like, just staff, and he's friends with all of them by the morning. We'll go to Vegas, and he'll tell me that he made 10 friends the night before. Like, he just immediately makes friends with everyone. And I think, I mean, that's very cool. I just don't have that. But Jason Segel's got it. I mean, his fictional character.
Yeah, well, your brother's cooler than us too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk to people, but I never make that real connection.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to check in. Just kind of want to check out the room. Maybe
it's me actually. Maybe I think it's cool that people want to be friends with them, but also I just want to go be alone.
Yeah, maybe we don't want any more friends. I don't know how interesting this is, but I'll tell you anyway.
Yeah.
The lobby that is in the film that they're always kind of in.
Yes, beautiful lobby.
They built that. The film paid for that to be built so that they weren't, like, interrupted by the actual lobby and check-in registration area. But guests would still walk through there, and they were all speaking in the commentary wondering if they kept it, because they go, this is the one we built is way nicer than their original lobby.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't they keep it? It looked beautiful.
Yeah,
those big windows.
Yeah,
I would love to have her job where she's just standing at that desk, like, just looking at that view all day. Magnificent. So is it the first night that he gets girl drunk and has that banana drink and stuff like that? Is it the first night, or I think it is.
I believe it is. I'm trying to place it in my head because there's also, where does the scene come in where he's crying in his room?
Oh, yeah. That's also the first night, I think. The first day, maybe? He's crying in his room?
Yeah, I feel like he goes up to the suite, and maybe he starts crying, and then maybe he can say, okay, I gotta go out. And he goes out for a drink.
Yeah.
But Jason Segel was telling this story, so, because so many of these funny moments in the film happen to him, because art imitates life, as they say. Do they say that? So, he's, in the film he's crying. Mila Kunis calls him up and asks, they said they got complaints about a woman crying. And he's like, oh, it must be the woman above me. She sounds really upset. And she's like, well, you're on the top floor. So apparently a girlfriend of his was physically attacking him in his past. Like, he was getting physically abused by a girlfriend, and he was screaming, and he was the only one screaming. And a guard came to the door and was just slamming on the door, and when they let him in, he's like, you got to keep it down. It sounds like there's a woman being murdered in here.
Wow, so that was also straight from his life. He's just
straight from his
pulling
life.
some of these painful, weird, uncomfortable relationship moments.
I know. It's like funny at the end, when it's like there sounds like a woman's being murdered, but he was actually being attacked by someone, which is, not okay.
Yeah, it's not okay, but maybe the guard coming helped that woman, come to reality and stop being abusive.
Well, hopefully he broke up with her. Gotta get out.
Get out of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was right after that where he's down there in the bar and he's, he's got the banana with, like, the lime mushroom top on the banana. And he's doing all those voices. What was the one? I've never seen Sex in the City.
Oh, he's like, oh gosh, if I try to do it, I'll just get the Sex and the City characters wrong. Like, I'm so and so, and I like to have sex with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not interested in watching Sex in the City.
It was good. I mean, old Sex in the City was lovely when, in that moment in time. I'm not going like back and watching it. It's no Gossip Girl or anything.
Yeah, it's never going to be a Gossip Girl. Which is funny because then there's like the new Sex in the City and then there's the new Gossip Girl. Both which have full frontal male nudity in them.
They do?
Both of the new ones do.
Oh.
But the Sex in the City one is a prosthetic because that's what HBO does. And they are fully employing all the prosthetic creators out there to make all these wieners for their HBO shows, which makes me so mad. But I don't know about the one in Gossip Girl, if that's a prosthetic. I have a feeling that it's not.
Oh, okay.
But I will, in a future episode, I'll look into it.
Yeah. The only, other thing of note to me was, the sex scenes with, what is his name?
Aldous Snow.
Aldous Snow and Sarah Marshall, which she's so clothed in, which I thought was funny. Because, there's
clothed.
a full dick in it, and then she's, wearing a top and, a skirt and having sex. Like a bathing suit top, I think, and then a skirt.
Yeah. Her, sarong.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a part where I'm like, there's no way there's full penetration here.
Yeah, yes.
But I also do like him using kind of yoga moves.
Yeah.
She's so small. She's so small, and he must be so incredibly strong because he does that thing. I don't know what that. He's arches his back.
Full back bend, yeah.
Full back bend, thank you. And she's just on top of him. And I'm like, that's incredible.
Yeah, she is a petite woman though.
Yeah.
She's short and she's just a small person.
But she's so fit.
Yes, mega fit.
She does yoga. Both those two do yoga, or at least did back in 2008. It's been a while.
You could tell. I mean,
oh yeah,
you could tell from the yoga scenes that they did yoga. That was not. They immediately got into all this. I mean,
yeah,
it seemed very natural to them.
I guess when they all had gotten to Hawaii, Kristen Bell thought it'd be a good idea for them all to get together and do yoga. So kind of the cast got together and they were doing, yoga poses and whatnot. Yeah. But then obviously they were showing off because they can do it really well. And I think everyone else had been drinking Mai Tais and stuff. So most of the commentary is them talking about how many Mai Tais they drank.
Yeah.
And how many beers they had.
Yeah.
And how they were drunk during the scene. And, I only had to shoot 3 days and I was there for a month. Just enjoying Hawaii.
The people with smaller roles and stuff. Yeah. Her, Kristen Wiig, she probably...
Oh, yeah. She was probably there and just had a lovely time. Jack McBrayer, I think, only shot 8 days, but he was there for a month. But he's like, I couldn't get sun until the last week. Because
he had to look the same?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
So he had to stay under the sun. Oh, there's one part, and it actually happened earlier that I just remembered that I love so much, is when they have kind of that, I don't know if it's not a breakfast buffet, but there's an outside kind of, a luau, but it was during the day.
Okay.
And Aldous Snow shows up, and they want him to sing a song.
Oh, yes.
And so he goes up and sings Inside of You.
Yes.
Which
Beautiful
is
song.
Such a good song.
Yeah.
I love that song. I remember when this came out, I bought the soundtrack.
No, you didn't.
Of course I did. Most of my albums as a young person, up until my 20s, was movie soundtracks. I'm not lying. I had the soundtrack to, what's that movie called? Dangerous Minds, the one with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, that's a good soundtrack.
That's a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Armageddon had an amazing soundtrack. I had that.
Oh, yeah. Well.
I'm trying to think of any in particular, but I had so many.
Yeah,
and this was one of them.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Inside of You.
And they wrote those songs. I think Jason Segel wrote those songs.
Wow.
So good. Anyway. But he goes up and he's singing Inside of You. Everyone's listening, and Jonah Hill stands there and he goes, I just went from 6 to midnight. And he adjusts his wiener and puts it underneath his belt. And I died.
I love that so much. I had a boyfriend, was my first boyfriend when I was very young, and he told me that he would always have his penis tucked into his belt, like flipped up.
What?
At all times. Like, so it was never relaxed. So he wouldn't just put on his underwear and his trousers, like, and just have it.
I mean, there's a spot for it in men's underwear.
Yes, I do understand. I don't understand why he did this, but he told me. So he'd flip it up. So I go, so when I hug you, it's just right there. Under there. Like, under your belt. Like, I don't know. And he said, he told me it's because he would get erections. And he was like, if I get an erection, it's already there.
So it's like more hidden from people? So it doesn't like poking the
yeah, so like if it's down and relaxed, it's and then if you get an erection, it would make a show.
Tent. Yeah.
It would make your little tent.
Yeah.
But if he had it already tucked under his belt and he got a boner, it would be concealed.
I wonder what his boner frequency was, because it seems so uncomfortable to live your life that way.
Yeah.
It must be a real problem to have that kind of boner frequency. And
yeah, I mean, hormones, you're a teenager. Yeah. He was probably 18. I was just a tiny bit younger. No one needs to get arrested here. But I always thought that was very strange. And I didn't remember that until this moment. And I want to forget it again. I'm really sorry I brought that up. Yeah, Ryan can edit that out if he wants. It's a pretty gross story. Sorry about that, everybody. So they go to this locals bar.
Yes.
And we get to hear Dracula musical. I have a funny story that I heard Jason Segel say. All I have are funny stories. But in real life, he wrote a Dracula musical for puppets. Like it was a real thing that he made, and he wrote it, and he grew up loving the Muppets. You know, I think he kind of grew up as like an awkward kid because he was always super tall. Mm-hmm. And you get made fun of because you're this big old tall kid. And he always liked the Muppets because they never made fun of anybody. Like, they never made jokes at anyone else's expense, mm-hmm. and they all were different. They all looked different, but they all were friends, you know? And he found comfort in that. So he wrote himself a little Dracula musical made out of puppets when he was in his early 20s. He wrote songs, and he recorded the songs, and he brought them to Judd Apatow. And this was this was obviously after Freaks and Geeks, but before he had, you know, done Knocked Up and this movie. No, he was trying to find his way. He played the CD for Judd Apatow. Judd Apatow stops the CD halfway through the first song, and he hands it back to him, and he goes, "Never play this for anybody ever again."
Oh no!
Yeah.
But then did he use that for this movie? Was it the same stuff?
I don't know about the same songs. I'm sure that he maybe like revisited it, but this isn't too long. I think he made this film when he's in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
So he when he wrote the film, and he goes, I want to figure out how to do something, you know, kind of like for the finale at the end of the film, and he brought up the Dracula musical again to Judd, and he goes, "Dude, this is your film. Just do what you want." And he let him do it, and it's perfect. I think it's such a cute thing in the film.
So it was never a full-on production?
No, he was just
something he was working on.
He was assembling this.
Wow, there's a lot of real-life Jason Segel stuff in this.
I know. Yeah. Well, I guess it's his first film that he wrote.
Put it all out there.
He's laying everything on the line. He's got nothing, no stories left. They're all here. Picture that he finds in the bathroom of was it Lazy Joe's is the name of that
Something
bar?
Like Lazy Joe's, yeah.
With Mila Kunis like flashing is a body double.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say like that's the only other real nudity in this, right? Is her flashing photo, but that's not her.
That is not her.
Aww.
And I believe that in just the theatrical cut of the film, there are no boobies. There are no breasts, except for the flashing photo.
Yeah.
But in the extended cut, there is a scene where he's going through all of his breakup.
Yes, earlier.
One,
hi. Yeah. Sorry, we're going backwards in this movie, but yeah, there were a lot of titties there. There was just like some quick
Yeah.
That there was like a Latin woman or something. She was like speaking Spanish,
yes.
and you see her boobies. They're very big.
Yeah.
You see those boobies a lot. Yeah, you're right. Okay, and that was only in the extended.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you remember when they were all having dinner together? And I think it's kind of when they're drinking, and the four of them with Mila Kunis.
Yeah, the kind of two couples.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and they're talking about a film that Sarah Marshall did that nobody saw, and it's about the cell phone that kills you.
Yeah.
It's like, why would a cell phone kill you? It's like, why wouldn't you just hang up or take the battery out? But what's interesting is that they wrote this section of the film, and they didn't know that Kristen Bell had been in a film with that premise. There is a movie that she's in, came out in 2006, so 2 years before Sarah Marshall came out, called Pulse, which I do believe is a remake of another film. And she's reading the script, and she goes, "You guys are making fun of me for this film." And they go, "No, we don't." And she believed, they were being genuine. They'd never seen this movie, never heard of this movie, and she's like, "Okay, well, you can keep it in because you are being genuine. Like, you didn't know that I was in a movie that had a very, very similar premise to that." So she let them make fun of her a little bit.
I didn't know that. I kind of want to watch it now because I do like her a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's bad and hilarious. I mean, I loved her as Veronica Mars.
I never watched Veronica Mars.
Gosh, that was one of my like favorite shows from like my younger days. It was, I mean, a young like female detective. Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of right up your alley.
Yeah, well, I probably also, if like, what was it, scene of the crime, if that was a real show, I probably would also watch that.
But I mean, it is this show. They make all those shows.
I mean, if she was really in that, like,
she was in it.
Yeah, because I watch I've dabbled in all of those other types of shows like that. You know what I mean?
I don't like those
crime
shows.
Because I finally have all the seasons of Criminal Minds.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
I am working my way through it. Yes. All of the seasons of Criminal Minds. That's where they live. I've been looking for kind of years to try to find all the seasons of Criminal Minds.
I should apologize to Ty for that.
He's watching way more Criminal Minds. But he gets to see, there are a lot of celebrities in that show because it's really, I mean, it's good for what it is. It's like a crime soap opera, but that's a little bit better than a soap opera.
Amazing.
I love it so much.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, incredible. Crime scene of the crime. I've been all in.
So our final penis scene, because we get a doubler in this film. I have two different times. Not that it matters, but it depends on which version you watch. The film is wrapping up. We got to see our Dracula musical, and we get to see the reunion of our two main characters who have fallen in love. Mila Kunis goes to see Jason Segel.
Dracula play.
She goes to see the Dracula musical, which is great. A Taste for Love, right?
Yeah, Taste for Love.
So good. And she goes into his dressing room, and he is there naked because he's changing because he was in a play, and you get sweaty up there. And there it is. That's our last one.
Yeah.
And it's another full wide shot. He's there, and he covers it up with his hand really quick.
And she's cracking up the whole time.
Of course.
Can't stop laughing, which is an appropriate response, I think.
That's what it's there for. I mean, this is what you get in the comedy films is a comedy penis. But this is also a penis for the showing the vulnerability of our main character.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So he's always putting it out there on the line. He's never... He does not keep his cards close to his chest. They are out in the open. Like, everyone knows how he feels. He does not hide anything.
Yeah.
He shares his love freely. He shares his emotions.
And the way the last relationship ended, the new one will begin with an accidental penis.
Oh my gosh. You're right. Like a beautiful penis bookend to your relationship. Wow. I never thought about it like that. That's lovely.
And then, they just make out. And I think she intentionally, hides his penis with her body while they're making out.
Yes.
It's lovely.
Yeah. I don't remember. You got here when I was finishing up the film and I had the commentary on, and Mila Kunis was saying something about Jason Segel making puppets with his penis.
Yeah, so I think what she said is every time the camera was on her and she was laughing, he was like, I can't remember what kind, he was like doing little puppet things with his penis. I think that's what she said.
I can't imagine
That's creepy.
that means. Or what was going on, because there's a huge difference between how everyone talked about the original scene with Kristen Bell, and, you know, I heard her in interviews kind of talk about how it was like to film that scene, and how was it uncomfortable, and how and she's just saying, I didn't really look at it, and I was just doing the scene, and it was kind of uncomfortable for everyone, but we had a good time, and everyone was wearing t-shirts that had like the Statue of David on it for like the penis day.
Oh.
So, you know, they kind of like tried to make it more comfortable, but she was being very kind of closed off about it.
Yeah.
But then when Mila Kunis talks about it, she's like, oh, he's making, you know, puppet jokes with his dick, and it's like, and they're all laughing about it. So it's definitely a different kind of working environment between the two.
Yeah, she seems a little more easygoing, maybe, or just like kind of silly and like open with nudity, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder about like, you know, because they have like intimacy coordinators now in films and stuff, and I always wonder like what the setup is like with the conversations that happen around that, like how are we, you know, how do you feel about this and stuff, like, so you agree to it, but then like you gotta make sure everyone's still comfortable, right?
Yeah.
But then also like we were talking about the sex scenes with Sarah Marshall and Alice, like that's like he's fully lifting her up, so there's got to be some groin on groin action there. Like, was there like, did they use like the yoga mat in between to like give them like some space? Like, I always wish I could know those weird little details, like of the intimate scenes, like how intimate was it really? Like, what was there, how much fabric was between, you know? I maybe I'm a creep. But
No. I think maybe we need to get in touch with an intimacy coordinator, because I am interested.
I've heard different movies, like they cut like a yoga mat and they like tape it.
Really?
Yeah, so like the guy's junk isn't really pressing up against the woman for her like comfort, you know.
That's...
Yeah, but you know, I think different coordinators do different things, so
that's wild.
Yeah, and I think that's a super kind of in the last like 5 years that role even being in, like, you know, I mean, now every film probably also has a COVID like safety officer too. So.
Yeah, the intimacy and the COVID coordinator come in holding hands, and they come as a team, and they're best friends. And you got to make sure no one's touching anyone's wiener and no one's coughing on you. The only last note I have is about how the part of Aldous Snow, played beautifully by Russell Brand, he's so perfect. I could not imagine anyone else in this role, but that role was written for Charlie Hunnam.
I don't know who that is.
Charlie Hunnam's interesting. He was in that motorcycle show. Do you know that motorcycle show?
Where they're all like bad boys in a group?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wait, say his name again?
Charlie Hunnam. He was also the guy that was meant to be in 50 Shades of Grey.
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy.
We can keep that in, Ryan. Thank you. Sons of Anarchy. He
So,
walked in to let us know Sons of Anarchy.
Listeners will miss the facts from Ryan. It'll just be Renee and Laura guesstimating who was in things and what things were called.
I can recall the films. I cannot recall TV shows, apparently. But Charlie Hunnam did a table read that went really well, but he ended up turning it down, and he just said that it just wasn't received well by kind of the inner circle of the production. They weren't happy that he turned it down. And he just stood his ground, and he goes, it's nothing personal, guys. I'm just following my North Star. And he just wanted to kind of figure out what his path in acting was, which is around the same time where he was like, I'm not doing 50 Shades of Grey. I'm not doing Dating Sarah Marshall, because the original role was written as an author.
Oh, not a musician?
Correct.
Oh, God, that would have been a totally different movie.
It's completely different. Yeah. He was supposed to be kind of, not necessarily stuck up, but just kind of like a cool author who wrote a lot of nice books, and they ended up
completely rewriting that role and not even just the role, like parts of the film completely, because when Russell Brand came in, he was just kind of like, oh, hey, and he just looks like that. His hair is probably crazier in real life, or when he walked in, but they go, wait a minute, like, this guy looks like a rock star. That might work better.
And absolutely. I mean, thank goodness that guy didn't want to do it, because
Russell Brand.
Russell Brand's like musician character is like more of it's more painful because he is a successful musician.
Absolutely.
Where Jason Segel's character is like not fully following his passion, just doing those tones and, you know,
ominous tones.
But he's like a real musician, just not successful yet, you know? And so I thought that was more what made it, you know, a stronger film, is that, like, it was more hurtful that she moved on to a successful musician.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was, I think that the actor made the right call for everyone. Yes. Wait, so was he in Sons of Anarchy before or after this? I don't know timeline when that came out and when this was, like.
I don't know, we need Ryan again.
Well, I just like the idea of the world where Sons of Anarchy is afterwards, and he's just like, I need to follow my North Star, which brought me to Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, maybe.
A semi-popular motorcycle gang show.
He chose Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy started in 2008. 7 seasons of Sons of Anarchy versus a month in Hawaii.
He's like, my North Star says, I just want a steady paycheck for a while.
We were talking about this when you got here to record, that I've never really changed my rating for this film. I've always liked it. I remember seeing it when it came out on my birthday weekend, and a lot of Jason Segel movies seem to come out late April, which I love.
Huh.
5 Year Engagement came out on my actual birthday. I Love You Man came out, I do believe, like right around my birthday. I'll have to double check that, but I remember going to see I Love You Man with my little brother and my mom, and I think my brother hated it, which I don't understand him. I don't understand. But I remember seeing this movie in the theater, and I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah. I do think my rating has changed over the years, just because it's never going to be as good as the first time you watched it. Like, I must have laughed so loud the first time I watched this movie.
This film didn't win any awards, so we don't have to go through
Did
that.
it? Aw. No. So good.
I know. There needs to be... We don't even need to talk about the Academy Awards and how ridiculous it is. I mean, I don't imagine Forgetting Sarah Marshall winning an Academy Award, but maybe it should. Maybe it needs to be opened up. Yeah. I mean, it obviously does. It's a mess. No women directors were nominated at all this year.
Oh, really?
It's kind of gross.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross how that whole thing works.
Well,
I don't know if you want to start, but I want to go through the ratings. So we're going to do our visibility and context, which you can put together, and then you can do your rating of the film.
Okay.
Would you like to begin?
Yeah. So it's out of 5, right?
Out of 5.
It's out of 5.
0 is nothing, and 5 is all of it.
Visibility, I feel like, is a 5, because you can see it. It's very much there, but it's like it says hello, and then it comes back for future viewings. Even if you forgot about the penis from the beginning of the movie, it shows up right before the end. So it's like you get to see it. You really get to see it, and you get to be reminded of it. Yeah. So context, I'm gonna call it a 3.5.
Okay.
Because I think he should have covered it up. Like, I understand being, like, upset in the moment and dropping the towel, but then after that, you pick up the towel and you cover up your penis. So, like, it doesn't really make sense that it keeps being there. But at the end, context is good, so that's why maybe the half gets added to the 3. So 3.5. That's my penis review.
Wonderful.
Okay. All right. What about you?
I'm just gonna give it 5 all around.
Okay.
Just because I feel like it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Visibility is there. It's not on screen for a long time, but it's on screen a few times. And they are all there for
I don't want to say they're all there strictly for comedy, because it is there also, like I said, to kind of like show him being vulnerable, and that's a really tough situation. And in terms of context, like, I don't know, I think it's different. It's different in the way that you would normally see a rom-com. You don't expect a penis right off the bat. And I also love that it's a true story.
Yeah.
Because that you can't make up, which is why in the middle of that breakup he goes, I need to write this down. This is amazing. I can't believe it. So, and I like that for him. I like that they were adamant, you know, about putting it in the film. You know, they tried a few different ways, but this is the only way that worked. And the reaction it got, I mean, it I don't know if it necessarily sent waves, but certainly ripples across, you know, cinema, to where everyone's talking about it, and it added more penises in films. It was a brave choice.
Yeah.
And the right choice. Say like Sarah Marshall in the film, it was the right choice for me at the time.
Yeah.
So it can have 5, but I just really like this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, now this movie rating
the
time.
Full movie rating.
Okay, so I felt like when I watched it last night, in my mind it was like a 3.5, but then I tried to remember the first time I watched it and how much I loved it, and that's not in my Letterboxd because I didn't have Letterboxd way back then. So I give it a 4 now, because it's just such a strong comedy, but it's also like an emotional movie, and it makes me laugh even still to this day. It is a bit long.
It is a bit long,
and I watched the extended version, so some of that I did to myself. So there are moments, like, once you've watched it so many times, there are moments where I'm like, I get a little distracted from watching it, because it's, you know, like, I know what's happening. So yeah, it's a long movie, but it's so good, so 4.
Wonderful. Yeah, there are parts of that movie, you know, you're saying, it's a comedy, there's drama elements, there's real relationship elements to it. There's parts of that movie that really resonated with me in terms of relationships, you know what I mean? Like, there's things that I've done that, and that's happened to me. And there's no villain in this film either.
No.
At all. Everyone is just a person. Everyone's on their own journey. And, you know, you would imagine forgetting Sarah Marshall, you would imagine her to be the villain. But they have that conversation kind of towards the end of the movie where, what happened?
Yeah,
he like passed out.
Yeah, she was the villain until basically she explained her standpoint from the relationship. Like, she went to therapy, she tried to do all these sex tricks, and she tried, like, and then you get some empathy for her, but it's like, okay, dude, you could have broke up with him a year ago. Still,
yeah, you don't have to cheat. Yeah, you don't have
somewhat a villain.
Oh yeah, of course, because you don't have to cheat on people. You can just be honest.
Yeah,
you know,
just end it.
Yeah, just get it over with. It's easier that way. 5 stars.
5 stars, she says. She says 5 stars.
I say 5 stars. I looked at Letterboxd and how many times I've logged it, and this is the 6th time I've logged this film.
Oh, wow.
Since I've had Letterboxd. But so that doesn't count that since...
Wow.
I think it says in there when I started doing Letterboxd, I think it was a long time.
Yeah.
I've been doing Letterboxd, but... Yeah, I logged this movie a lot, and I've never changed it. It's always been 5.
Always been 5, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if you feel this way, but I love it when, because I haven't always been as disciplined with my Letterboxd, but when I go to watch a movie I've watched before and it's already in there, I've already rated it, I'm like, whew, good, I don't have to think about rating it this time. Yeah. That's me anyways, because every time I'm like, you know, I overthink it and end up giving everything a 3.
I've also had Letterboxd so long that Ryan was trying to talk to me about, I think it was Mission Impossible Fallout, and he was telling me about it. Oh, it's so good, and Henry Cavill does that machine gun arm thing, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Yeah. And you know I love action movies. Like, I love Fast and Furious. I love any type of, like, big explosions and anything The Rock is in, or Jason Statham. But he looked at my Letterboxd and he goes, you rated Mission Impossible Fallout 1 star? And it was like way before we met. I don't know when I saw it, and I was like, I guess I hated it. I don't know. I don't know what to say to you. The me at the time hated that movie.
Yeah.
I could watch it again. I don't mind. I've totally forgot it.
Yeah.
You see so many movies. It's like, it's so fresh when you watch them again.
Yeah. I mean, you rate it how you feel in that moment.
There you go.
Which could be like where you saw it, who you saw it with, if you were feeling sick that day or not feeling sick that day.
Yeah, if you saw it at home, you saw it at the movie, it's totally different experiences. The audience can make a huge impact.
Yeah.
Like when we saw Megan.
Oh my gosh, Megan.
That would have been a lot worse if we didn't have that beautiful audience.
No, that movie was hilarious and so good, and everyone in our theater was in love with it.
Yeah. I was reading, I'm going to wrap this up right now, but I was reading that the gay audience, like the LGBTQ plus audience, loves Megan.
Yes, they do.
And they've really taken hold of that film and that character.
Well, that's why, like, when we were talking about Bros earlier, and I heard it was like, it's a gay movie made for straight people, and then they said Megan was just made for gay people.
What is it? What did they say again? The she's, the theys, and the gays?
Yeah, she's, theys, and gays.
Yeah, lovely. I'm glad to be part of that.
All right.
So, wow.
Yeah, it's good to be a she.
It is good to be.
Happy Galentine's Day, Laura.
Happy Galentine's Day, Renee.
I love you.
I love you, bitch. Thank you for trying out this experiment with me today, and thank you, and happy February. I don't know. Great. Coming to you from the Kapula Suite at the Turtle Bay Hotel in Hawaii, I have been Laura, and
I've been Renee. Aloha, bitches.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Aloha. And we'll see you next time.